Alright folks, it's time to turn this plain old content model into a real life functioning form in Sanity.io. Let's go. Sanity gives you a handful of primitive field types out of the box, all of which are perfect for our theater content type and most likely other content types you'll need in the future. When we last left off, we created our theater content type and added a single field, the theater name field. Let's load up our Sanity Studio and make sure that's still working as expected. Here we still have our theater content type, and if we click into it, we can see we've added a single theater, the super famous IMAX theater. Let's go ahead and click that, and now we're taken to the form itself. Here we can see our theater name field, so we know everything's working as expected. Let's start building. The next field after theater name is our logo field. For this, we'll need the ability to upload an image. Looking at the Sanity schema docs, we can see their primitive for images is called image. One thing I want to note is that all the documentation on the Sanity website is top notch. It's extremely detailed and intuitive and includes tons of examples to make your development and learning experience a lot easier. Now that we know how to create an image field, let's head back to the code and build it out. Here we just need to supply our field's name and the type. If we refresh our UI, we can see we're now able to upload images. Easy peasy. Next, we'll add our description field. In many content management systems, this would be known as a rich text field or a text editor. To add this in Sanity, we'll need to use the array type and state that it's an array of blocks. Don't worry if this doesn't make much sense right now. We'll dive deeper into the Sanity text editor in the next couple of videos. For now, just know this is how you get a rich text editor inside of Sanity.io. So let's add it. Now, if we head back over to the UI, we can see that we have a custom text editor with common features like bolding text, adding hyperlinks, and creating bulleted lists, etc., etc. Next up, we have the address field, which is actually a set of individual fields that make up a theater's address. In Sanity, this is something called an object. The object primitive allows us to specify a group of fields that belong to a single parent field. Let's start by adding our address object. Next, we'll add a fields array that includes all of the fields we wish to add. Notice that the object inside the fields array are the same types of objects we'd place inside of the define field method. If we head back to the browser, we can see that each field has been nested below the main address field. It's perfect. Next up, we have our phone number field. Now, normally you'd assume phone number should leverage the number primitive, right? Well, not in Sanity, and for good reason. If we take a look at their number documentation, they specifically state to never use the number primitive for storing phone numbers as it minimizes pain down the road. Oh boy, let's go ahead and avoid that. So for our phone field, we'll use a string. And then there's email, which is a simple string field as well, so let's add that. Slug is another primitive type that Sanity gives you out of the box, and it's really cool. Once you've given it a field to use as the source, it can auto-generate your slug for you. In our case, we'll tie it to the name field we just created. If we head back to the UI and click the Generate button, we'll see our slug gets added based on our theater name. Specifically, it took the theater name, made it all lowercase, and replaced spaces with dashes. And last but not least, we need to create our movies field. As we went over in the previous content modeling video, our movies field is a reference to the movies we currently have in our system. Not only do we need to create a reference, but we also want theaters to be able to add as many movies as they want. To pull this off, we'll need to use a combination of two types. First, we'll need to set up an array field which tells Sanity, hey, my field can have one or more values, similar to what we did for the description field. From here, we need to say that the values it consists of are references to our existing movies. Again, all of this information can be found in the Sanity documentation in the schema section. Check out the link in the description below. And there you have it. We are now able to peruse through our existing movies and choose as many as we want. Great work. So technically, our form is complete and ready to be used, but it's missing a few key things. First off, none of our fields are required, nor do they have any validation, despite what our content model has outlined. We'll need to take care of that. Also, this form is a little clunky right now. All of the fields live in one single scrolling page, which makes it a little difficult to browse. Imagine if there were twice the number of fields. It'd be really challenging. Don't worry. In the next video, we'll add validation for required fields and validation for making sure our phone and email fields have proper formatting. We'll also group our fields into tabs to provide a much better editing experience. Join us for that and a whole lot more.